City is the #1 movie in America, thanks to legions of fans from the television show lining up to see what is new with Carrie and the girls, and there's plenty to catch up on. Take a look.
So he bought it and you'll live there with him?
Yes, together, that's right.
But he'll own it, so you're keeping your own place, right?
Miranda, I haven't figured out the details yet, but I'm a smart girl, and I'm sure I'll figure out something that I'm very comfortable with.
I just want to be sure that you're being smart here.
And I love you for that, but for now, can't you stop worrying for me and just go ahead and feel what I want you to feel? Jealous. Oh, jealous of me living in this gorgeous penthouse in Manhattan.
All right, I'm jealous.
Oh, thanks.
You live in real estate heaven, and I live in Brooklyn. New York Magazine said Brooklyn is the new Manhattan.
Oh.
Whoever wrote that lives in Brooklyn.
And that's just the beginning. Please welcome back Sarah Jessica Parker.
Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Just hi, everybody.
Did you, no kidding, did you, I mean, it was such a build-up, but did you ever expect it to be this kind of a hit?
Well, I don't think I had a specific number in my head. I will say that, you know, 2 years ago when I started this very long and wonderfully laborious process to get this movie made, I had an instinct that the timing was right. I had no point of reference for numbers because there are no movies with 4 women over 40 to look at, but I had a suspicion that the time was right.
What does that mean, the fact that, you know, we always hear, you know, when you're beyond 25, you can't even get a movie role. And you're very honest about your ages in this, in your 40s, and Samantha is in her 50s. So does this mean that we're going to have movies about older women, for older women, or is this a fluke?
Well, what I think it hopefully means is that we have put a white-hot spotlight on the fact that half of the population are women in this country, and they want to go to the movies, and they want to see a story that is well told and well written.
And their age.
And they want to relate to the people. It doesn't mean that their lives are similar or that we are wanting the same things. It is an emotional connection to people that they like or are fond of or have affection of.
Isn't it just like this show?
Exactly.
It's the same idea.
Exactly, Joy.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting a fine point on that for me. So I think that, you know, I honestly don't really think it's a cultural phenomenon. I think it's phenomenal that women have come out. But I think, you know, we took a poll. 41% of our audience had not been to the movies in 2 months. Now that means that there just hadn't been something that they felt compelled to leave the house. So we're thrilled that we were worth their effort.
That's great.
It's a great girls' night out. It really is to just get together with the friends and see this film.
Good.
I mean, go ahead,
No, I was just going to say, this is so great because you're on Bazaar in Japan. That's how much they love you. And Cosmopolitan in Italy, and then in the U.S.
And in Vogue.
Yes,
with
Vogue,
Kristen
no
Noll.
publicity.
We all love you, but you said that this movie was your idea, and you stayed up at night doing lists of what needed to be done. I want to know what was on the list.
Oh my God, Sherry, what wasn't on the list? I mean, when you try to put together a movie, and I'm pointing to you because you know what goes into the making of a movie. No movie gets made quickly. No movie worth anybody's salt gets made overnight. And it's the perfunctory details of producing that are very daunting. And because I have an instinct to want to make sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, I was just consumed with making sure all those details.
What was the first thing that came to your mind?
Securing sound stages and trying to get our production crew back and making sure that everybody who was on the design part of the movie, though we knew they had commitments to other jobs, that we could somehow negotiate and strategize, that we could make sure all the women were available, that we could make sure we had the kind of marketing that we wanted.
That was the problem, getting all the women available.
That was the easy part. Compared to the production design team, that was easy.
Really?
I don't want to give everything away, although people say it's been out for a week, but they can.
Just a week today,
okay.
so and tickets weren't available, so you can feel free to try again.
So Carrie goes through a bad period. Okay, and there is a close-up of you.
A bleak period.
A bleak period. There is a close-up of you in which you are in this bleak period, in which it seems to me there was no makeup on. I could see the speckle. You did not have to let yourself be seen that way. Now, not that you don't look good even with that, but you know what I'm talking about.
I didn't even consider not, I mean, it hadn't even crossed my mind that it would be an issue. I think Michael Patrick wrote this beautiful story for my character, and this despair that she's experiencing, this loss and disappointment is real, and it's grown up, and there's no vanity attached to that. It's absolutely about as low as a person can feel, and there's just nothing about it that would even make a person consider what they look like. And so it wouldn't have, I literally didn't even think twice about it.
That's unusual. Because usually people, you know, actors, they wake up in the morning, the makeup's perfect.
But I've never been a fan of that either. I've never been a fan of that. And I think it's just always really, it's not real, and it removes you from the movie.
Yeah.
You're all like, well, that's simply not true.
Remember Shirley MacLaine in Postcards from the Edge when she has no hair and no eyebrows and she's in the hospital?
Everybody praised her for it, yeah.
That was something. Yeah. And then Charlize Theron is always taking her makeup off and winning Emmys and Oscars.
Is it true you had over 81 costume changes for the film, too?
I did.
Yourself?
I think, I did. I think there's about maybe somewhere in the high 60s left on screen.
Nothing worn twice, everything...
There was one accessory worn so many times that I determined I think it was in the movie more than I am.
The belt? It had to be the belt.
The belt, and which I named Roger because I became so really attached to that belt. And it's just from it's from a thrift store. It has little or no value except sentimental to me at this point. And we just kept. I was like, well, maybe Roger. So I'd be like, Roger that, Roger that, Roger that, Roger that.
This question, is this a rumor? Is it true that you were slightly reluctant to take this on again, and your husband, Matthew Broderick, actually had to sort of talk you into this?
Well, I was very reluctant to say yes to the series. And just not because the material wasn't completely compelling and really smart and very different, but I had been working in the theater and doing a movie every year and a couple plays and a movie, and I thought I had like a really enviable career, and I was very well. I thought so. You did. Well, thank you, Joy. But I was afraid of losing that kind of freedom. I thought television was, 7 years, and you drive onto the studio lot, and it was the same thing. It was Groundhog Day, and it freaked me out.
Quick question. So now they say, your competition is Indiana Jones, which is in its, fourth reincarnation,
Very
whatever.
flattering.
So people are saying there's going to be another Sex and the City. I can't imagine what you will do with these characters. Are you thinking of another movie?
Michael Patrick and I have not even discussed it. I mean, I've understood there's been some talk, and obviously our studio has been, very kindly
saying please,
talking about it, but
please talk about it.
Well, I'm just saying, because fans can get their hands on this Sex and the City book. You wrote the foreword for this book,
I wrote the foreword, and I worked on every page along with the associate producer, Melinda Relier. But what's amazing about this book, if you don't mind me saying so, is we had to go to print on this book before the movie was finished being cut. So there are scenes in this book that are not in the movie. There are costumes and plot points that are in this book that are not in the movie, including, I'm just going to give you, now you never saw Samantha, Charlotte, or Miranda in any of these outfits in the movie, did you? No. And you won't. Unless you buy the book.
All righty.
Listen, folks, Sex and the City is now in theaters. If you can get in, go see it. And everybody in our audience is taking home a copy of the Sex and the City